Hi, I'm Amanda from Life Unravelled, and we're here to unravel life's little mysteries. Today we're talking about Kindy and all the things that surround Kindy, looking at lunches, looking at how to cope with Kindy, how you can cope with Kindy best and how to help them cope with it. So how can we help them get ready for Kindy? In the morning, have a routine. It's the best way that they will feel comfortable going off to Kindy. The more that they understand that routine before they go to Kindy, the easier it will be to slip in that Kindy step at the end. Make sure that the lunches are ready to go. So in the morning, you're not trying to madly get lunch ready, as well as trying to deal with kids that are trying to eat breakfast and get dressed and get everything ready. It just works out much easier if you're more calm and you've got everything ready, and then you can just watch what they're doing and prompt them every now and then. Maybe have a chart, and that's a great idea, to have a getting ready chart. And that chart will give them, they can go and look at it, they can refer to it, and give them a sense of accomplishment once everything's ticked off. From Officeworks, you can get self-stamping or self-inking stamps, and they're great to use because you can just press the stamp on and they'll get a star for each step that they've done, and then once they get to the end step, they know that that's on the way to Kindy. What I used to do with my kids is once they filled up the whole chart, which was the whole week, then we would go and do something special, or they'd get a treat. I had Lego and Littlest Pet Shops. My kids loved Littlest Pet Shops. And I would get the whole big pack of it, and I would break it up into little bags, and I'd do them into little Glad bags that had a Ziploc bag, and I'd put them up into a box, and then each time that they finished a couple of days, or that if they got everything done themselves in time, then they would get one of these little packs, and the little pack at the end of the week made up a whole system. And those systems only cost me about $15, but it was so much easier for me because every day they got a new part of it, and they could either build the Lego car that they had, or they could build the boat that they had, or they could play with a new part for the Littlest Pet Shop that they got. Now, the big thing is to choose their currency. So their currency is what they really will do anything for. And sometimes it'll be they'll do anything for a picnic, or for going out for a cup of tea, or they might even do anything for a custard tart. It may be like my kids loved Lego and Littlest Pet Shop, so I would just buy, when we came to the big sales, I'd buy sets of them that I could then break up and use as enticement for the children to actually do the right thing. Having a calm morning routine will help them learn better at school. They're much more inclined to be able to learn with a calm brain. And if they're all flustered and you've had fights and they've tried to get everything ready but they haven't succeeded, then they'll feel failures before they even start school. So the more you can do to help them be successful in their morning routine will mean that they're more inclined to be successful at school. Now, what can you do when they come home from school? Do you ever find that your kids don't want to talk? You say, now what did you do at Kindy? And they'll go, I don't know. And it just frustrates you. You go, well, did you do painting? What did you do? Well, number one, they're not going to want to talk to you when they're hungry. And I love the term hangry, because they get really, really angry and frustrated. And as soon as you feed them, they're calm and happy. So first thing first, don't ask them about their day until they've had something to eat. Now, if you can have something in the car ready for them when you pick them up, that's so much better, because they'll be sitting in the car, they'll be relaxing when you've picked them up, or maybe you've picked them up and you walk home. Give them a snack that they can eat as they're walking home. Something like fresh berries, or some pieces of ham, some chicken, some protein, or even a smoothie is great. Having milk is good. Rather than giving them things like muesli bars and chips that are filled with sugar, that's not going to help their brain. Their brain needs calm and food that's like protein, that's really good to digest and produce the glucose that you need for your functioning of the brain. Now, once they've had something to eat and they've relaxed, they won't talk to you if you're really busy. So if you sit down and wait, and it will take a little while, you'll find that they'll start talking to you and they'll start telling you about your day. It's interesting, if I'm cooking in the kitchen, getting things ready and for dinner and stuff, when the kids come home from school, they never talk to me. But if I have a cup of tea in my hand and I'm sitting on the couch and I might have a game show on, or I'm playing on my phone or something, they'll always come up and talk to me about their day. I think it's something to do with they don't want to disturb me when I'm busy, but if I'm just sitting there, they're quite happy to have a chat to me. And what questions can you ask? Well, here I've got a list of great questions. Let's go through them. Did you use your favourite colour today? Now, that's a pointed question. It's something that they have to think about specifically. And it's these specific questions that help them to tell you what they did in the day. And the more guided you can be with these questions, the better it is for them. Often the teacher will tell you what they're doing in the day, or you'll work out what the routine is. Like on Tuesdays they do painting, and on Mondays they go to the library. So you can direct your questions depending on what you know their school routine is. Another way you can do it is you can say things like, "Oh, I loved colouring when I was at Kindy. What's your favourite thing to do?" So you make something that's personal for you, and then you ask them if they have something that's favourite for them. What I love to do, and this is sort of to teach kindness and gratitude, is ask them, did someone do something kind for you today? Or did you do something kind for them, for someone else today? And this really helps with their personal development. It helps them understand about social skills, but it also helps them understand about self-worth and that it's really nice to do things for other people. And being kind doesn't cost anything, but it makes people feel really good, and it makes the person who's doing the kind act feel really good as well. So if you can promote that to your children when they come home from school, then they'll know that it's important to you. What I find really interesting is when I've seen so many families, is some of these families are really focused on kindness. And so they talk about kindness in their everyday life. They do kind things for people. Their whole social interactions are all surrounded kindness. And what you find is the kids really focus on that in their schooling, and they always look for kind acts to do. Other people are really focused on academic achievement, and they're always talking about lots of interesting information that they found out today, or they're looking at what's the new sort of technology that's coming out, and they're really focused on all that sort of intellectual side. And you'll find that the kids really focus on that intellectual side. And what I've learned is that whatever you think is important as a person and as a family, what you focus on, that's really what your kids are going to focus on as well. So you really need to think about how you want your kids to grow up. What sort of adults would you like them to be? And by working that out, then you know that you can focus on different aspects. Now, if you focus on kindness, that doesn't mean that you don't have fun looking at new technology or promoting academic achievement. But what it means is that you know that that's a component that you want to make sure that the children understand. So academic achievement's really important. Doing co-curricular, what they call co-curricular things like music and sport, and those, being part of a team, those sorts of activities are really important for the kids to get a good rounded education. Looking at kindness, which is like a spiritual area. If you look at kindness and teach kids how to be kind and teach them to understand about others' emotions, what you'll find is that they really will become really well-rounded people and well-rounded adults. Now, sorry, I've got off track a little bit, but let's get back to what questions can you ask the kids? Maybe you could also talk to them about singing a song that they did. Can you teach me the song that you did today? And hopefully it'll be one that you would know. For instance, they might do Incy Wincy Spider climbed up the water spout. Or they might have done Mr. Frog jumped out of his pond one day and found himself in the rain. And so if you can get a gist of what the first words are, you can generally work out what it is. And if you can't, you can YouTube it, because I'll guarantee you it'll be on YouTube. Now, some kids actually need just time and space on their own. Let them go out and have a play. Let them run around and go for a swing on the swing, climb a tree. Let them play with their Lego and just give them a little bit of space. And once they've had that space and they've had a bit of a play, then they might be willing to talk to you. But debriefing about the day is really important to start that right now. If you start it when they're going into Kindy and then into reception, preschool, depending on what state you're in, dependent on what they call it. And then year 1, if you can get those habits happening then, by the time they're in year 9 and 10, then they'll be used to telling you what's happening in the day, and you might actually get a glimpse of what's happening in their lives. Now, I know as teenagers they get quite secretive often, and they don't tend to want to communicate as well, but those communication skills that you set up now and those habits that you set up now, letting them know that you really find what they do important, will help you when they're teenagers. All the habits that you're setting up now, all the relationship building that you're doing now from 4 to 5 years of age is really going to stand you in really good stead when they become teenagers. And the more that you can interact with them and learn with them, you'll find that the more that they'll want to talk to you and the more they'll want to tell you what they've learnt when they get up into high school.
This video was produced by Imagination Pty Ltd for Life Unravelled. All advice and information given during this course is designed for general use only. If you have any concerns for your child, please seek professional advice as soon as possible. For terms and conditions, please see website www.lifeunravelled.com.au.